Morning light. Numbers chapter 8 verses 9 to 11. Presenting the Levites, part 2. Yesterday we stood in the wilderness camp and watched the whole congregation of Israel gather at the entrance of the tabernacle. All of Israel laid their hands on the Levites. Aaron presented them before Yahweh as a wave offering, and Yahweh declared, "The Levites are mine." The moment was not merely a ceremony for an ancient tribe in a desert. It was a picture, a carefully built shadow of something Yahweh was planning for people far closer to His presence than the Levites ever stood. Today we begin to look at the picture from the inside. We are not Levites, but we are the new creation. And everything that happened in Numbers chapter 8, verses 9 to 11 speaks directly to who we are. However, we were set apart and what we have been given to the one who called us. The very first thing Yahweh said about the Levites in this passage was this: "Bring them from among the people of Israel and set them apart." They were not a different race. They were not born with a visible mark. They lived in the same camp, ate the same manna, walked under the same pillar of cloud. But at a certain moment Yahweh reached into the congregation and took them out. They were taken from among the people to be given back to Yahweh for His purpose. This is exactly what Christ describes when He speaks of the new creation. "I have chosen you out of the world," not taken out geographically. We still live here, still work here, still walk the same streets as everyone else, but we have been taken out spiritually, positionally, in terms of whose we are and what we are for. The world did not release us. He reached in and took us. Paul puts it plainly in Colossians chapter 1 verse 13. He has delivered us from the domain of darkness and transferred us to the kingdom of His beloved Son. The word translated transferred carries the weight of being physically moved from one territory to another. One moment we were among the people, then Yahweh took us from among them. This was not arrogance, it is the reality of what happened at our calling. And here is what makes it searching. The Levites did not choose to be the tribes of Levi. They were born into it. But that birth came with a calling that would need to receive and walk in deliberately. In the same way, the new creation did not choose itself into its calling. The Spirit moved, the Word was heard, and something happened that we could not have manufactured. But that calling, once given, requires a daily, deliberate response. The Levites who refused their service were not excused from it. They were held to it. Being taken from among the people is not a passive title. It is a living reality that must shape everything about how we live. There is a deeper reason behind why the Levites were taken, and it sheds remarkable light on why we have been called out. At the Exodus, when Yahweh struck down the firstborn of Egypt and passed over the firstborn of Israel, He laid a claim: every firstborn in Israel, the first to open the womb in every household, belonged to Yahweh from that night forward. They had been redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, and that redemption carried a price. They now belong to the Redeemer, but instead of pressing that claim on every individual firstborn in every family across 12 tribes, Yahweh accepted the tribe of Levi in their place. The whole tribe became the substitute, and the whole tribe was therefore His. Now consider what this means for the new creation. We too were redeemed, not by the blood of the Lamb without blemish, but by something infinitely greater. You were brought with a price. That purchase was not just the forgiveness of sin. It was a transfer of ownership. The one who is redeemed is no longer their own. The firstborn of Israel were redeemed at the Exodus and therefore belonged to Yahweh. The new creation had been redeemed at Calvary and therefore belongs to Yahweh. This is not a metaphor. It is the most basic description of what happened to us. We were under one ownership, sin and darkness, and we were brought out of it at enormous cost and placed under another ownership entirely. You are not your own, for you were bought with a price. The Levites, being taken from among the people because of the redemption of the firstborn, is the exact same principle applied to us. Redemption means belonging. When the Levites were taken from among the people and set apart for Yahweh, they did not remain the same. They could not go back to living as ordinary Israelites, tending their flock, building their own houses, accumulating their own portion of the land. They had no inheritance in the land of Canaan. Yahweh was their inheritance. Their lives were structured entirely around the service of the tabernacle. Everything changed because of who they now belonged to. This is where the picture becomes deeply personal for the new creation and deeply challenging. We speak of being set apart, and so we are, genuinely and completely in Yahweh's sight. But does our daily life look like the life of someone who has been taken from among the people? Do our priorities reflect a life that no longer belongs to itself? Is God our inheritance, the things we actually building towards, actually living for, or do we carry the label of being set apart while quietly still accumulating what ordinary people accumulate and going where ordinary people go? The Levites had no land. The new creation had no permanent city here. We seek the one that is to come. Being taken from among the people is not just a statement about where he came from. It is a statement about where we are going and what we are living for right now. Tomorrow we will explore how the congregation's laying of hands and Aaron's wave offering speaks to the new creation. For now, let this truth sit with us. Yahweh reached in and took us. The question is whether we are living like it. Prayer. O Yahweh, our God, we confess that we do not always live as those who have been taken from among the people. We carry the name of the new creation and yet reach back for what we were told to leave. Forgive us for treating our calling as one among many options in our life. You reached in, you took us, your Son paid a price we cannot calculate, and you said, "You are mine." Let the reality be more than words we agree with in a meeting. Let it be the thing that actually orders our days, shapes our desires, and quietly separates us from what we used to reach for. We do not want to be Levites who still act like they are from another tribe. Make us what you declared us to be, wholly yours. Yahweh is my portion, says my soul, therefore I will hope in him. Lamentations chapter 3 verse 24. We ask this in the name of our Redeemer Christ, who gave himself to make us your own. Amen.